Professional skeptics. The normal concept of skepticism is not any kind of a problem for mankind, or for human civilization. A certain amount of skepticism is basically healthy and prevents people from going down rabbit holes or getting burned by recognizably bad ideas. Professional skeptics, on the other hand, are hugely problematical. These are the people who frequent things such as Usenet skeptic groups or whose names you see in magazines whose titles include the word skeptic. The worst cases more or less involve something similar to a claim of omniscience. That is, a claim of having the knowledge and background to debunk every new idea that ever comes down the road. A couple of thousand years ago, that would have gotten one of them burned or crucified for blasphemy, and few would have felt sorry for them. In recent times, such characters are frequently seen posing as defenders of the purity of science, particularly in cases involving scientific heresies such as those involving the late Immanuel Velikovsky and/or electric universe theories. One particularly obnoxious such wanker with a fairly substantial YouTube following claims to have debunked all of the major ideas of EU. The problem with that is that space-age findings are increasingly turning up major cosmic phenomena which are obviously electrical in nature and which gravity and other weak forces could not conceivably cause or create. A few examples should suffice. Laniakea, our local supercluster of galaxies. Every point of light in this image is an entire galaxy, our own Milky Way spiral galaxy being hidden under the small red dot. The entire thing is obviously an electrical breakdown, basically a lightning strike on a gargantuan scale. Hair-big Harrow strings. Mainstream astronomers refer to these things as jets. Nonetheless, real jets of dust or vaporized material would dissipate very quickly in the near vacuum of space. Moreover, close observation invariably shows these things to be lines of round objects. You're basically seeing stars being formed up at the electromagnetic pinch points of Birkeland currents. That is, those electromagnetic pinch points do have the power to agglomerate the plasma of space into more solid objects, typically stars and protostars. Birkeland currents. The Ganymede hypothesis describes the manner in which our own solar system was formed originally as such a hair-big Harrow string, and why that accounts for 4 of the bodies in our system having roughly identical near 26-degree axis tilts. Strings of galaxies. Mainstream astronomy has no explanation for strings of galaxies, there being no way that gravity could create such a thing. What we are actually seeing in this case is the exact same phenomenon as a hair-big Harrow string, but on a monstrously larger scale. In this case, what is forming up at the pinch points of the Birkeland current are entire galaxies and not just stars. The galaxy string thus created retains the spiral form of the Birkeland current, as actually do hair-big Harrow strings. The spiral form is a bit more easily seen in the case of the galaxy string due to the larger scale. Sunspots. Mainstream astronomers maintain that stars are thermonuclear engines. That has turned out to be very far from correct. What we actually see is electrical tufting, a sunspot being an area on the surface of the star in which the electrical activity breaks down. Stars are basically light bulbs, powered by the same kinds of electrical currents that create hair-big Harrow strings. If our sun were any kind of a thermonuclear engine, sunspots would be blue or white, and not black. That is, the heat would come from the core and temperatures would simply decrease, as you got progressively further from the core. Spiral galaxies. Ordinary spiral galaxies such as ours are more than difficult enough for mainstream astronomers to explain, and result in their talking about ridiculous things like dark matter. But, again, there are spiral galaxies in which the problem is obvious. For instance, NGC 6872. The arms, particularly the upper arm, show material being held in a straight line until some point at which the field breaks down, after which material very quickly trails away and dissipates. Gravity and inertia cannot do things like that.